Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem. So we continue. We're Perek Chet. I'm going to start Be'ezrat Hashem, Pasuk Gimel. So just again as a recap, according to the Gaon Mivilna, there is a praise, Mi tencha ke'achli, a praise about the love that has been so continuous, so strong, so vibrant between Am Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we wish that love that has been so personal and hidden throughout history of humanity should be revealed to the world. And that love and that revelation of the love, that crystallization and clarity to the world of that intimate love should bring derech eretz, should bring kavod to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ahavat Hashem, the application of the mitzvot, like we said, according to the Gaon. And according to the Malbim, we have the acknowledgement of disappointment that the neshama has, that the nefesh has on the body, on the yetzarim, and he basically tells the neshama, the nefesh tells the body, well, I could have been such a big shaliach of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I could have accomplished so many levels of kedusha, of nevuah, of ruach hakodesh, of chokhmah, but you refrained me, you restrained me, you stopped me through the melech hagadol, through the big king that is called the Yetzer Hara, and all its interferences and its forces to pull the person in different directions, whether it's ta'avot, desires, fears, emotions, contradictions, etc. So the pasuk says, pasuk Gimel, Semolo tachat roshi v'mino tehabekeni. His left arm, his hand, was under my head. Semolo tachat roshi v'mino, and his right arm, tehabekeni, is hugging me. So according to the Gaon Mivilna, as this love gets revealed to the world, and like the Gaon explains in Pasuk Bet and Hagecha Eviachal Bet Imi Telamedini, we're talking about that progressive revelation of the love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to Israel, Am Yisrael to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The love will be so clear, says the Gaon Mivilna, so vibrant, so real, that we will understand, we will appreciate, we will accept, we will cherish the concept of Semolo tachat roshi v'mino tehabekeni, of his small, of the left of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's under our head, and the yamin and his right that embraces us. As tigdal ahava, he says, what is the small? The small we know is midat hadin. The Gemara in Masechet Sotah, Daf Mem Zayin Amud Aleph. The Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanan, Le'olam iye adam dohe mismol u'mekarev miyamin. A person should always push from his left arm and bring closer with his right arm. And then the Gemara finishes that portion of the Gemara by the Mishnah, and the Gemara says, Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, Yetzer tinok ve'isha, te'esmol doha ve'yamin mekarevet. So the Gemara says two concepts. there's an approach. A person should always push back from his small and bring closer from his right. And continues the Gemara in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar and says there are three individuals in someone's life, three prinot in someone's life, that a person should also apply this rule. The Yetzer. The Gemara says, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says the Yetzer. What is the Yetzer? Is the desire of woman, the desire of reproduction, of intimate relations. So that's the Yetzer. Tinok, a child, and Isha, and a woman. We should always behave with them in a way, says Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, where you push them from your small arm and you bring them closer to you with your right. The Chachmei Musar explained that the small, although it represents Midat Adin and Midat Gevura and strength, but in a person, the left arm is considered the weak arm. Like the Patach de Eliyahu says, Echad Arich, Echad Katzer, Echad Benuni. There are three pipelines in the Sfirot. Echad Arich, one long, which is the Chesed. It's the long pipe, it's the strong pipe, is the most abundant one. Echad Katzer, one that is short, which is the Gevura. The Echad Benoni, and one that is middle size, between, in the middle of the small and the big, which is the Tiferet, which is the central pipeline of the Sefirot. So although the Midat Adin, the left is Midat Adin and Gevura, and its strength, but its extension, its essence, its build up is short. How does this shortness reflects itself in the body of a person? That it's weaker. The left arm is always weaker than the right arm. Kamuvan, that we have the lefties, but in general, a person that is a righty, which is essentially the most of the population. Yeah. So we have the right arm, which is the strong arm, and the left arm, which is the weak arm. So we should, says Shlomo HaMelech, we have to push with the left and bring closer to us with the right. Meaning that when we push someone, we shouldn't push them strong. We should have to push them just enough to motivate them, to wake them up, to spark interest and motivation in them. Just like the Yetzer Hara, we have to push it. You have to push it back. You shouldn't let the Yetzer Hara too much take control over your life, the Yetzer Hara of intimacy. So you push it, but you don't want to push it too far. Because if you push it too far, how can you be Mekayem the mitzvah of Peru Urvu? The same thing with a child. A child, you have to educate him, the child, him or her, it doesn't matter. And how do you do that? So you have to be firm and push them so that they keep on moving along, right? But you have to be mekarev them also biyamin. We'll see what the yamin means, which is you have to get them close, the warmth, the love. You have to keep them strong, close to you. But when there's behavioral challenge, when there's disagreement, so you have to push with your left. Oto davar with Aisha, the relationship with the woman is the same thing, says Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. He says also, you don't want to push her away. You don't want to hurt her. You don't want to hurt her. But you want to bring her closer also. So there is this balance. There is this balance between pushing back and bringing closer, pushing back and bringing closer. Says the Garon, Davar atzum me'od. Something amazing. He says HaKadosh Baruch Hu behaves with us exactly the same way. He pushes us, forces us to react a certain way. That's the nisyonot. That's kiviyachol, that adin that we see that shakes us up. And when we see it, we see the din. We see challenge. We see pain. We see reflection. But in reality, is semolo tahat leroshi. He says when HaKadosh Baruch Hu pushes, what ma kavana semolo? He says when you have somebody and you want to make them go forward, so you push them from the back, says the Gaon, and they start going on their own. Right? Somebody's standing up, push them back, and they're going to start going. That's a semolo tahat leroshi. And that's how a person, says the Gaon, has to approach the nisyonot, the tests, the challenges that HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts him in front. V'mino tehabbekeni. V'mino tehabbekeni. But when you, with your right, with your chesed, you love, you hug, right? Hibuk is when you put your arm around somebody and you protect them. You bring them closer where they become one with you. And there is no more hatzitza, there's no more separation between you and the person. You're in control of the situation. When you surround somebody, when you hug someone, that's it, they're inside your arm. So you're controlling, you're protecting. That's done with hesed. That's done with the right. HaKadosh Baruch Hu behaves with us like this. He protects us, he guides us, he loves us by holding us tight, close to him. But when we are stalling, when we're misbehaving, when we're not acting according to the plan or according to the mitzvot of the Torah, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu will push us from the back, okay, to keep us going and to keep us moving forward. Says the Gaon, according to Shlomo Melech, we don't see it. That's something that's hard to understand. Mi tencha ke'achli, right? Mi tencha. I wish that love would be revealed, right? So that eventually, once that love is revealed, and that we appreciate each other, and we learn together, and we recognize the greatness of the Torah, mitzvot u'ma'asim tovim, the kvod shamayim, derech eretz, then we will appreciate the semonot tahat roshi v'mino tehabbekeni. Another pirush, says the Gaon, semonot tahat roshi represents the fire of Hashem, the fire that protects Am Yisrael and surrounding them from their enemies. Semolo tahat roshi, v'mino tehabbekeni. On the outside, HaKadosh Baruch Hu ish milchama. HaKadosh Baruch Hu ish milchama. HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes to war to protect Am Yisrael, goes to war to secure the kedusha, to secure the love and the intimacy between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Am Yisrael. And that is represented through the fire surrounding Am Yisrael to protect them. Hashem ish milchama, Hashem shemo. But with Am Yisrael, Hashem shemo. That's v'mino tehabbekeni. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with Am Yisrael from within, strong and united, and through the Yamin. So the small, says the Gaon, is the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu interacts with the Umot, with the world. And even then, he doesn't push them with his right. He pushes them with his small. Just so that v'mino tehabbekeni, just so that he can reside and with Am Yisrael, with the Shekhinah can be with Am Yisrael, and this love can shine and benefit the world. V'mino tehabbekeni. That's according to the Gaon Mivilna. the Malbim בדרך שלו, he says, if we look at the Perek Bet, he said, what is the difference between the small and the Yamin? In the pasuk, Semolo tahat leroshi v'mino tehabekeni. He says the small part of the brain, the small represents the sechel, the asaga sichlit, the intellect, the part of the intellect that has the ability to differentiate, to organize, like the bina, semolo is the asaga sichlit, the logic, right? The logical intellect. The mino and the yamin, says the Malbim, is the sechel aruhani, the sechel anivui, is the sechel ayuni, the analytical side, which is the vessel that receives ruach hakodesh, that receives nevuah, that sees the emet and the sheker. So he says, Halvai, mi tencha. We continue with the mi tencha. Semolo tahat roshi v'mino tehabekeni. I wish that the left side, my left side, which represents the logic, the practical intellect, will be there. But it should be under my head. And what hugs me, what protects me, what guides me, what holds me tight is the sechel ayuni. Is the ability to the koach, to be able to differentiate between the emet and the sheker. This is the dominant side that should always guide a person. Not the kamuvan, for sure we need the logical intellect. That's for sure. And that's what gives us direction. But that should always be under the intellect that differentiates between the emet and the sheker. Because sometimes the logic stays subjective. What's logical can be dependent on my approach and my vision of the situation. But that doesn't mean it will for sure be emet. Not everything that's logical is emet. So says the neshama to the body, instead of always being logical and finding your personal interest at the end, I wish that you would have left the koach that differentiates between the emet and the sheker control us, so that we could always choose the emet and push back the sheker and not be under the influence of the sheker. Semolo tahat roshi v'mino tehabekeni. The Gaon points out a difference between the pasuk here and the pasuk in Perek Bet. In Perek Bet pasuk Vav, we say semolo tahat leroshi v'mino tehabekeni. Where here in pasuk Gimel we say semolo tahat roshi v'mino tehabekeni. There is no lamed. Where in Perek Bet there is a lamed. Says the Gaon, in Perek Bet we're talking about future. We're talking about potential. Potential is an outlook that we project hoping that there will be an outcome. And that says the Gaon, it's something that can or cannot happen. It's something that is dependent on a lot of actions, on a lot of factors. So it's something that is limited by the alignment, by the chances, kiviyachol, right? By course of events that have to align themselves in order to get there. So, and that's the lamed. Semolo tahat leroshi, leroshi for my hand. Semolo tahat leroshi, his left is under leroshi of my head, for my head. Says this are projections, but here, says the Gaon, we're talking about the times of the Geulah, where it's clear, the ahava is clear, the ahava, the dveku, the intimacy is vibrant, is alive. It's not something that we work towards. It's something we know, that we appreciate, that we live, that we experience. So we don't need to project. We say tahat roshi. It's under my head, right here, right now. It's a fact, not to be something that we expect to be. Pasuk Dalet. Ishbati etchem benot Yerushalayim. Ishbati etchem, I swear, I adjure you. I made you swear benot Yerushalayim. Ma ta'iru, do not wake up. Ma te'oreru, and do not arise et ha'ava, don't arise the love, ad shetehbatz, until it pleases itself, until the time comes. We saw that pasuk also previously. Says the Gaon Mivilna, Ishbati etchem, I made you swear at the time, Benot Yerushalayim, Am Yisrael, ma ta'iru, ma te'oru et ha'ava. Don't force me to react because the time has not come. Don't trigger in me a love that you know I cannot reveal at that time. That's in the past. However, says the Gaon, that when the time comes, when the revelation comes, when the ahava is vibrant, when it's clear to all, that bond of love will be not the love that is hidden. It will be a love, a new brit. It will be a new dimension of love that will be unbreakable, not in its connection and not in its dimension and its aura. It will be public, understood, accepted, and embraced by all. Says the Gaon Mivilna, this is the influence a person gets when he brings his own Geula, like we said. The fact that the person brings publicly, through actions, through behavior, the love that he carries intimately with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that not only gives him, says the Gaon, clarity and appreciation of the behavior HaKadosh Baruch Hu has with him, and it helps him understand why there are nisyonot, and what HaKadosh Baruch Hu expects from him, and what is the yamin of Hashem versus what is the small of Hashem. But it also consolidates a new dimension of love with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And now HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself comes and refresh a new brit, a new connection of love that shines at that point around the person and is accepted by all. It's called the hen. This is the hen that Moshe Rabbeinu was praying for. This is the shine, the aura of the tzaddikim, of the anashim kedoshim that emanate kedusha, emanate love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ashrei yoladato, when you see someone that is holy, someone that you look up to, someone that you feel is so aligned with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you say, Ashrei yoladato, lucky is the woman that brought this person to this world. This is the benefit, says the Gaon, the tzaddikim and the kedoshim get from expressing clearly through their behavior and their actions the love they have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's bringing out the sod publicly. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, midah keneged midah, takes the love that is intimate and hidden and makes it also public, makes it clear and undisputable to anyone. This is the Gaon Mivilna. This is the Ma'ala. Because when there is the Hafetz, when the desire is there, this love will be unbreakable and untouchable and undeniable. That's the Ma'ala. Says, and he brings the pasuk of Yirmiyah, Brit hadasha echot lachem asher lo tufar. There will be a new brit. There will be a new bond. A brit is a bond, says the Gaon Mivilna in Sefer Yetzirah. It's a bond. It's a connection that's unbreakable. Says the Gaon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us, yes, you're looking after that ahava that is hidden. Reveal it so that I can reveal the ahava that should be revealed. It's not that now people will know that there was a hidden love and they will say, wow, that love was there all the time and we just know about it now. Says the Gaon, the dimension of the love that will be revealed is a revealed love, not a hidden love that is now revealed, but a love that deserves to be revealed, that belongs in the world of revelation to the public eye. It belongs there. It's a complete different madriga, a complete different ma'ala of love. And this is the love, this is the aura, this is the ched, this is the koach of the tzaddikim that behave the way they do, like we just said according to the Gaon. And finally, the Malbim, Ishba'ati etchem benot Yerushalayim. The benot Yerushalayim, throughout the Sefer, we know are the kochot hakvi'ah, the kochot of the body, the instinct, etc. Right? The ta'avot. Ishba'ati etchem. You were always mafriya. You were always interfering. And says the Malbim, I had to make nedarim. I had to make shevuot. I had to create gdarim. I had to create around me barriers and restrictions not to fall. That's how much you were interfering. That I had to make a neder not to do this so that I can protect myself from the avera, says the Malbim. Ishba'ati etchem benot Yerushalayim. I made nedarim. I swore. I took mitzvot upon myself, restrictions upon myself, not to fall for the instinct and the desire. What do you think all this love is worth now? Close or far? It cannot change anything. עד שתחפש, כי נפרדתי מבנות החומר ואני בצל שדי תלונה. Said to the neshama, now it's too late. I wish I had all this at the time. I wish I had all this. Says the Malbim also, I wish this is what we could have had forever together. If only, says the Malbim, if only that was the behavior while we had time, while we had kochot, when we had the opportunity to exist, to do. We could have been like this forever. Like the Maharal says in Tehillim, like we brought in the Shurim on Tehillim, the tzaddikim they don't die unless they choose to. The tzaddikim are zochel and netzach. If it was only for HaKadosh Baruch Hu's desire, but the tzaddikim accept the teva, they accept the mitziut, they accept the reality to show how much they see and live the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in nature and in the rules of nature. So says the neshama, we could have been there forever. We could have been in that level where we choose to die, not a separation from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not mita, it's not the samech mem, it's not the death that's separating us, but it's us that choose to go, to respect HaKadosh Baruch Hu in nature. That could have been possible, says the neshama to the body. If only you let me elevate myself spiritually, if you let me infuse you with the kedusha, with the chokhmah, with mitzvot u'ma'asim tovim. Aval ma la'asot? You were mafriya. You stopped, you interfered, you challenged me, all the way to the point where I had to make nedarim and swear. Make you swear not to do, not to act, so that I don't fall for the avirah. But now it's too late, says the neshama. Now that's it. I'm going to Olam Haba. It's finished. It's finished. That connection, that potential has just disappeared. And I will not come back. And I cannot come back. Because now, says the Malbim, V'ani betzel shaddai tlonan, I will go and reside under the cell of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Be'ezrat Hashem. With that, we conclude with Pasuk Gimel and Pasuk Dalet of Perek Chek, Be'ezrat Hashem. So שיהיה לכולם ברכה והצלחה, הרבה סייעתא דשמיא.